Hey, I'm Reggie Ponder, the Real Critic, and this is the Real Critic Roundtable where Black critics come to discuss, debate, and have some fun. Man, this is the best time of the year because we are in award season. Sometimes it's the best time and sometimes it's not. But I got my friends back with me. I got Katya Woods from CupOfSoulShow.com. And I say this all the time, if you ain't been there, you need to go there. Then I have my guy, Sean Edwards from Fox 4 Kansas City. And I say this, if you don't know, now you know. So, Katya, welcome to the show again.
Thank you. Nice to be here. A little tired, but hey, it's the weekend to give.
It is the weekend. Sean, good to have you, man.
What's up, man? What's up, man? I'm on my Reggie Hudlin, man. I'm on my Reggie Hudlin. I think I'm like 2 steps away from being the executive producer of the Academy Awards. So I'm putting in that work and following in my man's footsteps. I'm gonna get that gig.
Oh man,
Getting that gig.
I
I'm getting that
love
gig.
that, man. I
I'm
love
getting that
that.
gig.
Before we even get into all the stuff we got to get into, Katya, I always have to ask because my people are doing some stuff. What you working on right now?
I have a article that just came out on Dark Humor, which is a series on Comedy Central. And then I have another one coming out on Afro Latinx films for as we're ending Black History Month, and that should be published today. So that's 5 films that I suggested that you should watch to get a little bit of an idea of the Afro Latinx
So can't
area.
let you get out of here without giving me at least one of those films. What's one of those films people should check out?
La Negrada, which is a film out of Mexico. It's the first film with an Afro Mexican cast. It shows and highlights that there are Black people in Mexico. They're not Native Americans with a tan, they're actual Black people. And highlights that community in a little bit, about their lives. And it opens up the conversation about the state of Black people in Mexico. And they just got more anti-racism rights, and they've been acknowledged, and they're a decent size of the population. So
So I'm loving that. Say the movie again,
La
please.
Negrada, La Negrada.
Ex-
It's on Prime. It's on Amazon Prime.
Excellent. Sean, I saw you shaking your head. So obviously you can make a
Love
comment
that.
on
Love
that,
that.
but
No, I love
obviously I got
that.
to
Love
ask.
that. Love that shine. Love that. That's where we're supposed to go with this. Love that shine. Love it.
Excellent. And obviously I got to ask what you working on. I know what you working on, but tell us what you working on, man.
No, man. Yeah, working as not the executive producer this time because I was the executive producer on the Celebration of Black Cinema, but I'm working as a producer on the Critics' Choice Awards, March 7th on the CW. So this will be award show number 4 that I'll get a producer credit on this year. So that's kind of like the direction I'm headed in is producing, production, just trying to, make moves behind the scenes. The cut downs look good. It's going to be a fun show. Tay Diggs is incredible. I love working with him. He's an amazing guy. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a nice mix of actual live, virtual. It's going to be cool. We'll see how it plays out. I'm also interested to see how the Golden Globes play out on Sunday. See how
And
they
we
execute.
gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that today in the show. And I said that I was gonna actually bring in the United States versus Billie Holiday because that's our first one. But actually, Katya, I want you to bring that in because you and I have talked. I've seen you talking about a little bit. So talk about this film. Tell us what this one is about, and then we'll get right into it.
This is the Lee Daniels film. It is out on Hulu right now. And Andra Day is phenomenal as Billie Holiday. It's a different look. If you're looking for the Diana Ross version, this ain't it. This gives you a more rougher, complete look. And it basically is based on how the government went after Billie for singing Strange Fruit and all that she endured. And, you do see her battling addiction, her tumultuous relationships with the men in her life, and just how she's dealing with some of the trauma that she's been through. But you also get to see her, uh, you know, beautiful and vibrant, and interacting with friends. And, the thing that I'm most impressed with Andra is not only just the acting, that she did all the singing and she did it in a register that's not natural to her own. So if you listen to Andra sing as herself and you listen to her sing in this, it's not, she goes lower, and she really put in the work. But it's definitely, it gives you, like I said, it's a different look. And I feel like she's probably the closest as far as looking like Billie Holiday, complexion, the whole, imagery that we've gotten to someone playing her.
So when I saw this, everybody was talking about her performance, and I have to say, I think that she was absolutely masterful in this, and she made me think that I was watching the real person. I I I I I wonder though about the not the production value. I wonder about the story a little bit. And what I mean by that is that it does go really deep into her relationships and things of that nature. Did you have any thoughts about how the story progressed in this one?
I wish we would have had. I'm sorry, Sean. I wish we would have had a little bit more joyous moments because it does seem is very trauma heavy. Just from having done some research on her, she did have a very rough life, childhood. That is hard to say, but I think it's, I wish we would have had a little bit more joy. I wish
Cool.
we would have had a little bit more clear understanding with her and Travante's relationship. Because on the one hand, you're like, he's doing this. I don't want to give it away. I'm trying. That's why I'm speaking generalities. He's doing this, and then this is happening, and like that portion of who Travante was and that part of the department, I felt like needed also a little bit more clarity and
Cool.
also a little bit more why, other than just the song and her talking about it, but why was it so difficult for her to get her license back? Not, there were other places for her to sing other than New York. So
Yeah,
I
and
need
I
a little bit more clarity on that.
And I asked that question, Sean, because I know you have some distinct thoughts about this film. I know you liked her performance as well. Talk about how you looked at this film.
No, man, I didn't like her performance. I loved her performance. Thank God for her performance. Her performance saves the movie because the United States versus Billie Holiday has nothing to do at all with Lady Sings the Blues except not be good. The problem stemmed from how it was structured, the execution, and the flow. I mean, I can't be hypocritical. I mean, I oftentimes say I love maverick directors who swing for the fences, but to use a sports analogy, when the ball doesn't clear the fence and it's not a home run and it lands in the middle of left field or right field or mid center field and the defensive player catches the ball, man, you ain't feeling it.
So
Man,
talk about
all the outfielders catch the balls on this because Lee Daniels swings for the fences at least a half a dozen times in this movie, and he never hits a home run.
and talk about at least one of those things that you feel that was lacking in this for you, Sean.
The story structure is the biggest problem. Because I like the fact that they were daring enough and they wanted to distinctly separate themselves from Lady Sings the Blues, which came out in 1972, starred Diana Ross, who got nominated for Best Actress, which is damn near impossible because that happened in 1972, way before Me Too, way before diversity and inclusion. So her performance must have really stuck with the voting members. And it was good, even though she didn't look or sound a damn thing like Billie Holiday. But nonetheless, she got nominated for Best Actress the same year as Cicely Tyson for Sounder. But anyway, it's the structure in the writing of the story that fails. I mean, there are scenes that are too long. There are scenes that aren't allowed to develop. The juxtaposition is it's weird. It's awkward. There are characters that populate this entire movie that are never explained or developed or tied to Billie Holiday, so we have an understanding. Why is this person always hanging with her? What does she do? What's her purpose? The most egregious was with Lester Young, the saxophone player, who I absolutely know a ton about because he's from Kansas City, Missouri. He's one of the pioneers of bebop. He has such a tremendous relationship with Billie Holiday that Billie Holiday spent an extreme amount of time here in Kansas City. And it was one of those sort of like artistic relationships that actually created a ton of good music on both sides, which she helped Lester hit his creative heights. He helped her hit her creative heights. That's never even touched on in this movie, despite the fact that Tyler James Williams, who plays Lester Young, the character is in the movie almost damn near 90% of the time. and he's just some random dude playing a saxophone. It's
So
never it's stuff like that. It's just
I
it's never explained. Like that's egregious to me.
Yeah, and so I think that what got it for me was that there were things that just left a lot of questions for me,
Too many
and
questions.
it felt like it jumped a bit, and I think that it's really I appreciate you saying you loved the performance because I did too, and it was kind of weird because it just grew on me as the movie went. I was all in with her,
It's the
and
best. It's like if the world is fair, it's the best performance this year. I mean, she should win Best Actress going away. I mean, good Lord, the Academy's already boxed themselves in a corner. You gave an Oscar for Best Actress to Emma Stone, who starred in a musical where she couldn't sing nor dance. Then last year, you gave the Oscar for Best Actress to Renee Zellweger for Judy, and this performance is 10 times better than that. And don't blame the movie because people hated Judy and she still won. So you can't say she can't win because the movie's flawed.
oh,
Because
this
it's
is
the same
good.
scenario.
This is good, Katya. Come on in there, cause you ready, girl. Go ahead.
I had some people ask me, who do I think gave the best actress performance? And I said, Andra Day, hands down. I said, and they then come with me that the movies are flawed. I said, Vanessa Kirby's in a movie that's good for 40 minutes. The rest of it has a lot of problems. And I said, Carey Mulligan is in a movie that is interesting, but it also is a problem because what are we trying to say with this film? That if you don't get justice, you become a vigilante. I mean, it's trying to say it's women empowerment, but then it turns around and becomes the thing that it's trying to say you shouldn't be. Then Viola, who I love, should have won for another performance, but she's not the standout one. She did a good job.
She did.
She's not the standout one.
And so you don't need to do that. Go through each one of them because obviously we got to get through a couple of things. I want to make sure I get to one of your big points though about this.
The point is, if we're going to the point I'm making is Sean's. If we're giving people an award for being in the perfect film as well as the perfect performance, none of these women qualify. But again, the thing is what offends me is you can say everything we've said it, but people called it a Lifetime movie. People have called it worse than a movie of the week. And yes, it has flaws. I'm going to sit here and tell you it's great top to bottom, but she is not the problem. Also, kudos to costuming. The costuming was spot on for her. The fit, perfect. The way they got the flowers, all of those things have to be perfect in order for her to embody. Hair and makeup. If you look at pictures from Billie Holiday and you look at her, it's perfect. It is the closest performance as far as the embodiment, her characterization, the way she spoke, her mannerism, all of that way better than what we got in Lady Sings the Blues. I'm sorry, Barry. I know that was you wanted to do that film for your girlfriend, but we got to keep it real. And like Sean said, is the singing, which is really, really hard. People just think, oh, well, she's a singer, so it was easy. This is not her register. This is not her musical style. So she had to train all of that in order for her to get down and for order this to be hands down. But if the world is just, like Sean said, people get out of their feelings. And number one, if she doesn't get nominated, we know something is wrong. And number two, she should win. But the world
we'll get to that.
Well, whoever said this was a TV movie should quit on the spot because even though it's got its ups and downs, no, it does not look or feel damn near like a TV. There's nothing about this movie that's TV-esque. So that's whoever said that is correct. I mean, they're just flat out.
It does not. So for me, this is a watch it because of her. I can't say the flaws make it where you can't watch it because she was that good in it that I believe you have to check this one out, Sean.
No, I agree. It's a watch it. But it's a watch it where you have to work with it. It's not the most comfortable, easy watch. And every film shouldn't be. I like the fact that like her performance is outstanding, and I like the direction they went with the whole FBI harassment because not a lot of people know about that, and framing her as an early civil rights pioneer, which she should be credited as. So no, it's got more good moments than bad. It's just not a perfect film. But I like Lee Daniels because he's not afraid to do his thing.
I like Lee. I'm so glad.
Not afraid.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that. I do like the fact because you were pretty consistent with talking about people swinging for the fences, and
Go for it.
I'm happy that he did it. It just some things for me just didn't work as well. It wasn't as smooth for me, but but casting her, they did a great job. What you think, Katya? Just watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I did not love this Renee performance, and I'm a huge Julie Garland fan. It did not speak to me on any level. I was not engaged in this movie, and even like Sean said, there are moments where you're like, "What is happening? What time are we in? Who are these people?" But when it comes back to her, I'm like, "All right, never mind. I'm in. I'm gonna just accept it because she's great in it, and I
Excellent.
really and also she's a sweet girl. So you really
Well,
have to.
that's also another thing that we have to say real quick. And I'm sorry we're taking up all the time on this, but I think it's important. But another thing in this whole awards discussion is being left out is this whole gender bias when it comes to actors who fully commit. She damn near did the Robert De Niro thing.
Oh, she
She
did.
lost weight, she
Yep.
gained weight, she
She
smoked,
drank.
she
She
drank, she
smoked.
tried to change her voice. If this was Robert De Niro, we would have been screaming up and down. Oh my God, he gained 40 pounds to do Raging Bull. Give him like no, she did the same. No one's talking about. We don't
You
talk about that when it comes to
really,
women, especially
really,
black
really
women.
good point.
She committed to this role more than anyone committed to any other role this year. Call me out if I'm wrong.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you're not wrong, but we got to keep moving on. And moving on is
So
this one
what?
is
What we going to? What we going
this
to?
this was for you, man, because
Don't do that to me,
this
man.
is Tom and Jerry, dude. You don't want to have me.
Oh.
You had me watch Tom and Jerry because I wasn't watching this one. Tell me about it, man.
It's not much, man. It's basically I'm gonna date myself. Remember those what were those things called? Those carbon copy machines? And remember, like each time you make a copy, the next copy is worse. Then you make a copy after that.
yeah, I do.
And it's worse. This is this thing is like 10-time rendering of Roger Rabbit. Like it's because they were going for this where they take the classic cartoon characters, regardless of how you feel about the historical controversies over Tom and Jerry, which I don't know if we're gonna go there or not, because that used to bother me even when I was a kid. But they take these two iconic characters, Tom and Jerry, and they're placing them in the modern world, but they left them as we remembered them as two-dimensional characters, but everyone else is in this three-dimensional world in which, they're now in this hotel and they think there's a mice infestation, and then they hire the cat to catch the mouse, and then we go back to what we know Tom and Jerry for, with a bunch of humans who've been implanted. That some of the humans were good at looking at the tennis ball and some of the humans were not so good at looking at the tennis ball, and that's what we have.
And so you said it's really interesting. You said
but it's directed by a black man.
It is. It is, and I'm like, kudos to that Tim got an opportunity to absolutely do it.
I like that he got the opportunity.
I like that he got the opportunity. It didn't interest me. I mean, the way in which this movie looked for me is more like, it reminded me more of this, like it is a cat and mouse chase, but it reminded me of the Roadrunner and Coyote.
It's the same family.
That's what it reminded me of, because they were fighting, doing this, and it was a lot of chaos. And it just, what was missing for me is it didn't have heart. And I think they were trying to find that heart in the human characters, but it didn't have that heart where I really rooted for these for either one of them. I didn't care whether they got together to work together, whether they didn't, whether they hurt each other. There was just it was that thing, that emotional energy that was missing, that would keep you engaged in something like this. Katya.
I think they missed an opportunity. Also, I think it's very mature, so it's not for kids. And I always felt it's for if a younger audience were to see it, they would. It has a lot of mature themes on it, like especially little kids. You know what I mean? So I think it's important to let people know, like, this ain't your 6-year-old is not necessarily going to get into it, like maybe your middle schooler. But I think one thing I did like is the usage of music. Like when it started, I was like, hey, so maybe, that's a black man right there saying we're going to make it a little funkier. there were certain parts of it when Tom and Jerry did get down to who they are, but it's like Sean said, it didn't tie you in. It didn't make you want to feel nostalgic. It didn't make you want to say, you know what, this makes me feel like a kid at heart. Because again, it was trying to tell a very adult story with something that we harbor back to our youth. Now, again, I don't need you to make the movie or the cartoon that we saw when we were 6. But again, this wasn't there, like you said, there's no heart, there's no joy in it. You know what I mean? You're just like,
Yeah.
and
So
yet
I'm a cut.
so that therefore, they managed to get it done in less than 2 hours.
So I'm gonna cut to the chase because for me, this is a not watch it. I'm sorry, you guys. I felt like I wasted my time, and Sean, you owe me 2 hours. So for me, it's a not watch it.
I apologize. No, I don't know if I could recommend. I don't know if I could say not watch it, but I would say if you do watch it, make sure that you don't need to see anything else or do anything else. This is like the bottom of the list. I mean, it's not that important.
It's not, Katya.
If you have HBO Max and
Yeah.
still snowed in.
No, I can't believe you guys because we get sometimes when you guys get on here and be like, no, don't want. I don't even.
You're paying for the subscription. You're at the house. You're snowed in. You can't go nowhere. You don't watched all your other shows.
I put it. I said last on the list. If
You're
talking about last on the list during the pandemic and the age of streaming, that's a long list to be last on.
That is a long list. Well,
your Grey's Anatomy.
Well, something that's not last on the list because this has been high on a lot of people's list. In fact, Katya, I know it's been high on your list because you have been telling me since you saw it that I need to see this movie called Minari. Tell us what this one's about.
Oh, it's a beautiful film. Like we all cried tears of joy at Sundance. It is about a Korean family that moves to Oklahoma to
Arkansas.
Arkansas to start a farm. The father does, and they live in this trailer, and like a lot of women, she gets there and she's like, "What in the God's creation have you gotten me into?" And he's got this dream, this American dream, and he's walking her through it, and she's just like, but they have to work in order to fund his dream, and but the beauty of this film is it is in Korean. Don't let that discourage you because it still pulls you in. Steven is insane. I've loved him since Walking Dead. He should have been nominated for Burning. It'd be an absolute sin if he doesn't get nominated for this. The little boy in this, love him, love the grandmother. And it is an American family. There are a lot of elements. You watch this, the playfulness, the interaction, and also most importantly, what people are willing to endure to be in America, to have what the American dream is. And, in spite of what people like to think is, it's hard, when you don't speak the language. And at the same time, you're trying to hold on to your customs, who you are and everything. And also test this couple, because this is his dream. She's with him because she's his wife and she's supportive. But there's a part of her that's like, is this worth it? Is this good for our family? And I think those are all things that we can relate to where, you're sometimes looking at your partner and you're going,
So Katya, so I like this film, but I didn't love it as much as a lot of people loved it. Maybe I liked it because I felt that it gave us this different slice of immigration and what people will do. I think all the characters were interesting to me. You talk about the grandma. I thought that she was interesting. There was something for me, and I guess I'm always talking about it had heart, but it didn't have love. And there wasn't that the love between the two characters, it was bothersome actually for me, is that when she said, hey, you chose the fruit in the farm over the family, I was asking myself throughout this film, why were these two together? Because they didn't really seem to be together. They were so far apart in how they thought, how they believed. And maybe that's the charm of the movie for a lot of folks, but that part didn't fit so well with me. But I think it's a beautiful movie, and I think it's an important movie. Sean.
You know why it didn't work for you? It's because Minari tells a uniquely American story in a style that Americans, a majority of the Americans, have a hard time buying into. Number one, it's it's so well written, but the way it's written is extremely nuanced, but it's not written like the type of movies that Americans typically gravitate to. It's not explosive, it's not over the top, it's not silly. It's really really authentic. You almost feel like you're getting a sneak peek into this family's lives. That's just how well done it is on the written side. Number two, the acting. It's one of the best ensembles of the year,
I
but
agree.
a lot of people may not necessarily think so because it's not the over the top type of acting that we're used to. It's not showy. It's just it's real sublime. It matches the intensity and the execution of the writing because they're trying to give you a realistic portrayal of what it's like to aspire for the American dream and go out and try to execute the American dream while being dedicated to your family and struggling with your family and being fearless and looking for a fresh start and try to incorporate into a situation that you're not necessarily familiar with. I mean, it's all these undertones that come together collectively to make this a brilliant cinematic experience. But everything about this is anti the way most of us are used to watching movies.
So I think
Wait,
Katya, go ahead, Katya. You go ahead.
answer your question, there is conflict between the husband and wife, and
A lot.
and that's what I like because this is his dream, and it's a cultural thing between them as a family, as Koreans. You go where your husband goes. Now that doesn't mean that you don't get to voice who you are, and she's frustrated because he's not being upfront with the child. He wasn't upfront about what they were walking into. He wasn't upfront when they like with the water situation. I don't want to give it away. That's why I just said water. And she's like, I'm not dumb. I know what he's doing. Why isn't he telling me these things?
She
So
was every yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
and she's it's not that she doesn't love him. She's frustrated. She is thinking about, we've got two kids. You're out here, like, you gotta tell me stuff so that I can help you with this dream. But we gotta keep her home. I got my mother out here. We have to fly my mother out here, and you still are not explaining yourself. So what you're seeing from her is indifference, is what any wife or partner, you would be like, girl, come on now. You know what I mean?
No, that's
I
exactly
like
right.
that. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, Reggie, she was look, to put it in perspective, she was every bit as upset with him as Marie was with Malcolm. She just didn't express it the same way.
Yeah, I hear it, and because I want to get to a couple more things because I know we're on a
One
short
more,
lead.
I just
Go
say
ahead.
one thing. I agree with Sean. For my pick, as far as best supporting actress, has been the woman who plays the wife. I'm gonna do my best to say it right. Hanji Ri and the grandmother. Those two, or either one of them, needs to be in that best supporting category. And the woman's is
They're
Jung
good.
Jung Jung. She needs to be in that category. The woman who
I
plays the grandmother.
but I would say that she's not playing a supporting actress role, the wife, in my
But that's
opinion.
what
And I hate when they do that. I think the grandmother is playing a supporting role, and she was absolutely phenomenal.
And she was great too. She's not like everybody thinks of these Asian grandmothers as these doting, cooking. The grandmother's like, I'm here. I'm making sure the house don't burn down. That's it. I'm not cooking. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to be here to clean. I'm gonna watch these shows and make sure these kids don't set themselves on fire. That's what
I,
But the problem for a movie like this when it comes to awards is when you're black, when you're Asian, when you're Hispanic, people don't think you're acting. People don't think the grandmother's acting. Hell, she's the Meryl Streep of the Chinese film industry. She's not like that in real life, but when you play a part like this and people don't know you, they don't think you're acting.
I
But her
think that's a really
performance,
good
we
point.
do. And
No,
before we wrap up with this, we also have to touch on the fact I am thoroughly annoyed with parts of this country that doesn't understand there's a 60% of us that grew up in a household in this country where English was not the first language. So when people say a film that is predominantly in Korean is an international film. That's a bunch of BS. The director's American, the lead is American, the story is American, the direct it's based on his family. So you're basically
I think that's a very important point. I think that's a very, very, very important point. But for me, this is absolutely a watch it. I'm just saying that I didn't dote over it.
No, I feel you.
As much for it's a watch it, Sean.
No, it's a watch it. I have to be honest. I have to be fair. The first time I saw it, I liked it, but I enjoyed it much better the second time around.
And I think I would too, by the way. I think if I watched it again, I think that because there's some things when you guys talk about nuances and stuff like that. Katya, I already know what you're going to say because you made me watch it.
I probably was the last audience that saw it, you know, and first to last. And, you know, so it's also different to see it in a theater and to see Stephen Young's dad was there and he cried and then Stephen cried, the director cried, we all cried. Oh, it's a mess, but a good mess.
All right, cool. So we're going to move into this quick segment. I am going to get a timer on the screen soon next time, but we're going to try to do this and we got to do it on time because we got to keep it moving. We're talking about the Golden Globes, and what you guys need to do is say who you think will win and who you think should win. And we're starting first with, we're starting first with Best Picture, you guys. We got
the Golden Globe.
For Golden Globes,
Promising which one? But Best Picture, like drama or musical?
Best Picture drama. I'm sorry. I'll reset. Don't worry about that. Best Picture drama is The Father, Mank, Nomadland, Promising Young Women, and Trial of the Chicago 7. And Katya, you are first.
Trial of the Chicago 7.
It should win?
No, it will win. What should win in that category is The Father.
All right, Sean.
I'm going with Promising Young Woman is going to win with the Golden Globes. Trial of Chicago 7 is going to win the Academy Awards. In that category, the one that should win, with those movies, Trial of Chicago 7.
Dang, man. So I think what's going to win is the Trial of Chicago 7. And for me, what should win, I know y'all are just going to be like, really? But I'm going with Nomadland, man. I think that one should do it. So, all right, we actually did that in less than 30 seconds. Let's move on to our next one. So our next one is the comedy or musical. And we got Borat's subsequent movie film, Hamilton, music, Palm Screams, and The Prom. And and Sean,
Hamilton's not really a movie, but it's going to win the Golden. It's a recorded musical.
It's going to win because the Golden
Globes are
going to do what the Globes do. What should probably win is Palm Springs, but
yes, but it ain't got a chance.
I think Hamilton's going to win, but I think that the dark horse is this Borat subsequent movie film. You shaking your head. Go ahead. We got 30 seconds on this, so why not?
They going straight, bruh. It's the Golden Globes. They going straight Hamilton. They already got the name.
Bone, he already has his Best Supporting nomination. They ain't gonna give him that many flowers. They're
It's bruh. They're giving it to the recorded musical.
All right. Well, we will see. All right, moving on to the next one. We're moving on to actress in a drama, and that for that one, we have Viola Davis, Andra Day, Vanessa Kirby, Frances McDermott, Carey Mulligan, and the movies are obviously Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, The United States versus Billie Holiday, Pieces of a Woman, Nomadland, and Promising Young Woman. Sean, you up first.
Carey Mulligan.
I'm with him. Carey Mulligan will win, but Andra should.
Andra should, but she ain't got a chance. Not with the Golden Globe.
Lee send over some goons if she wins. Lee send over some goons to the house of some of these folks.
I think you guys are absolutely wrong. I think that everybody's going to recognize at least the Golden Globe. They're going to recognize that who should win is Andra Day, and she will win. She should win, and she will win.
You can't win 80. You can't win nothing 87-0.
You know what? I understand because they gave one to Madonna for Evita. So I see where you're going.
Andra Day is not Madonna.
Well, that's it. That's it, y'all. Got to move on to the next one. We're going to stay on time.
I hope you're right. I don't see it.
All right. You said you hope I'm right. All right. So now we're moving on to best actor in a drama. We got Riz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins, The Father, Gary Oldman, Mank, and Tahar Rahim, The Maturian. I am going to go first on this one, and I'm going to say we already know it's a no-brainer. It's going to be Chadwick Boseman. Not only was he fantastic in the role, this is his only time to win an award of this magnitude. He's going to win it. There's no doubt in my mind.
Plus, he don't need no black people to vote for him on this one. So
that's right. That's right. He gonna win. Katya.
Sean is going, Jesus, that wasn't me. With Sean.
You can't win 87-0.
Chadwick is going to win, but I wouldn't be upset if Riz won.
And Riz was fantastic, but I would be upset.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah,
no, we can't.
You can't vote. You can't vote against a dead man. That's a
that's great.
That,
especially a popular, well-known one at that.
Yeah, that's to haunt you in some way.
All right, moving on. I got a couple more categories. Actress in a comedy or musical. We got Maria Bakalova.
Yeah, we know Borat girl.
yeah, that woman. We got Kate Hudson for music. Michelle Pfeiffer for French Exit. Rosamund Pike for I Care a Lot, and Anna Taylor for Anna Taylor-Joy for Emma. And go ahead, Sean. You already in there. Go ahead.
Well, they went out of their way to nominate her, despite the fact that not a lot of people knew about the movie yet because it hadn't been released. So I'm going Rosamund Pike.
Okay.
She, out of all those women, and that's a sad category.
I think it's going to be Rosamund Pike. That's what I think.
They went out of their way to nominate her. Yeah. She wasn't in no conversations about nothing.
Before it was out, so that tells you that they saw it because they nominated her.
Yeah.
She one of those which you can just write in because you heard about it. You know what I mean?
All right. So actor in a comedy or musical, we have James Corden for The Prom. We have Sacha Baron Cohen for Borat's subsequent movie film. We got Lin-Manuel Miranda for Hamilton, Dev Patel for The Personal History of David Copperfield, and Andy Samberg for Palm Springs.
The recorded musical.
Yeah, Lynn's gonna win.
The recorded musical.
Lynn is going to win hands down, in my opinion.
Everybody, thank you for getting dressed up. Get your fake smile prepared.
Now, the again for me, the dark horse is Sasha on this one. Is that
because he's gonna get best supporting?
You think so?
Yes.
They're gonna give him that. Yeah.
He can't win 3.
He can't win 3. All right, so let's move
for this movie. They can give it for the other one.
You better understand the Hamilton effect too.
All right, well, let's move on to supporting actor, since you said that. And for supporting actors, we have Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of Chicago 7, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Jared Leto for The Little Things, Bill Murray for On the Rocks, and Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami. I'm going to tell you right now, I think Bill Murray's going to win. I think Bill Murray's going to win.
But who should win is Daniel, but I think they're going to give it to Sacha Baron Cohen because since they can't give it to him for the other foolery.
Yeah, Sasha's going to, this is the one that Sasha's going to win. And I'm torn between Daniel and Leslie, but right now Judas seems to have more steam than One Night in Miami. Because I'm afraid One Night in Miami is looking at, it might not even get a Best Picture nom. So
yeah,
I think it will not. This will be one of those things. They will not get a Best Picture nod, but they'll get a Best Director. It's kooky how the Academy does that sometimes. You'll nominate director, not the picture. You nominate the picture, not the
because
director.
It's too. Well, the reason that happens is they vote differently on picture than they do for the other stuff.
And I agree with you on that. But it's still, people are like, what? Yeah. And I think Leslie will make the cut in the 5, which is still huge. And that will be his win,
I have a problem with the reason I'm letting Kaluuya edge out Leslie is because I always have a problem with
what?
I always have a problem with when you have a great ensemble cast as to how you pick Leslie out of the whole group.
That's a great point. So.
It's the Hamilton effect. You just said it. They know him.
That's my point on that. All right, we got one more.
Let me teach you about this Hamilton effect.
Okay, go ahead.
Anything related to Hamilton is got a half a decent shot or going to win because white people have Hamilton posters in their house. like how black people have Martin Luther King and Jesus in their
No, there's no doubt. There's no doubt to that.
If my daughter was voting, she would vote for Leslie because she loves Aaron Burr.
Yes.
She'd be like, them other people cool, but I'm voting for Aaron Burr. And
Who,
that's what
sir?
here.
Who, sir? Oh, Burr, sir. Okay, all right.
Hamilton.
Let's go to supporting actress. I already think it's going to be Glenn Close, so it doesn't even matter. I think she's going to win for Hillbilly Elegy, but there's Olivia Colman, The Father, Jodie Foster, The Manchurian, Amanda Seyfried for Mank, and Helena Zingo for News of the World. Y'all thoughts?
It's Glenn Close getting her Al Pacino, Denzel Washington, Russell Crowe award for a performance in a movie that she had no business winning for because they failed to give her honors a long time ago.
Let me explain something to you. She lived long enough. We just had a couple icons die. Yep. They're trying to get their house in order before someone else goes. This is a shame because this is an actress that has such an amazing resume. And this is what she's finally going to be rewarded from. Oh, Hollywood.
Yeah. That's Hollywood. Well, hey, I know we only got a few more minutes left, so I'm trying to squeeze it all in. So now we're going to move. So that was the segment that I call Ponder This. We do it for a minute and try to keep it in. Let's just talk about some topics that are out there and let's see how many we can get in there.
Let's do
it. 3 days before this year's Golden Globe Awards are set to take place, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association responded to criticism, which that this criticism was here on this show, that it failed to cultivate an inclusive and diverse membership body, most notably as detailed in a scathing expose last Sunday by the Los Angeles Times. But if they watched this show, they would have saw it here first. But anyway, because they don't have any black members. Thoughts?
Why does it always have to take an expose?
It's not an expose. We could have told you ain't no brothers and sisters in that group.
It ain't been. We've been saying that for you. We've been saying that for years.
And if brother in there, he probably wouldn't be allowed to tell nobody because everybody would be like, "Brother, why aren't you speaking up?" He'd probably be like, "Shoot, I just got here last week." They might sneak one in. But that person can't tell anybody they're in it. It's like
dude, it can't be an expose when everybody already knows.
Yeah,
you saying they're not exposing anything? Is that?
That's what I'm saying. Like if Sean were to be in it, this is how we would know. He's sitting at a certain table. We'd be like, "Damn, this Sean." They tap Sean, and Sean will be in there like, we're like, "Blink one time, Sean."
Dude, we already know this because we know, and then the show was on NBC. It ain't if it ain't Denzel or Oprah, it ain't ever no black people in the Beverly Hilton.
That's right.
Do they think we idiots?
They won't even reward. Everybody kept saying with the Spirit song. I said they're not going to give it to Beyonce. I think it's Beyonce. Hollywood Foreign Press said we don't care. That gave the Academy the permission to say we ain't got to nominate her either.
Reggie, that's right. I know almost all 87 of those members. It's not even a member with a quality tan.
So you saying we don't even have like the 1%, like the 1%? Well, we got to keep it moving. But I thought I wanted to talk about that.
Let's stop calling this an expose when people already know.
All right. I love it. So because it's Black History Month, and we don't have a whole lot of time for this, but Black directors, man, is that I just want to make sure that we give some tribute to Black directors. It doesn't matter whether they were back then or back now. And I just want to mention 2 Black directors. It's going to come in the women area. And obviously everybody's talking about Regina King, but you know that I got to talk about Radha Blank. Is that I just think that she's going to be looked over for everything, and it's Black History Month. So I want to give some love to a Black director, and my Black director today is Radha Blank. Who you got, Sean?
There's so many Black directors, but I like to give credit to people who were doing it when it wasn't easy, and I think one of the guys who really opened the gates in a lot of different genres and a lot of different directions that we don't really talk about a lot is Gordon Parks.
Oh,
I
thank you.
mean, what he did with the learning tree kind of set the tone for what a lot of future filmmakers would do. That's an exceptional movie that not enough people have seen. And then what he did with Shaft and opening up that gate of true black exploitation films before Hollywood took it over and bastardized the whole genre had never been done, because he put the focus on inclusion early, because he said, no, I want all black people behind and in front of the camera, when that really wasn't cool. Even
And,
Barry Gordy didn't do that.
and
So
so I was rushing mine, so I'm gonna have to come back with a little bit more texture on mine. And the reason I picked Rada is
well, like Rada.
I believe that what she showed in this film showed that you can look at ordinary people. There doesn't have to be no beauty, no, like I've been telling you, people like, well, go get this sexy woman or whatever. She told a ordinary story that has a universality to it. She wrote, directed, and produced it. I just think that she did it
Well,
in such.
no one wants to hear the truth of this, but if Rada was as famous and popular as Regina King, she would be in the same position as Regina King. If Regina King was a nobody to direct it One Night in Miami, she would not be in consideration for a Best Directing nomination. That's
Okay,
the truth.
cool. Katya.
Yeah, and I love Regina. Like, I predicted her Emmy wins. I predicted her Oscar win right after Bill Street, and nobody believed me. And I went back to my tweet. I said, I am a good luck charm. Now, going to Rada, I agree. She should be nominated for Best Original Screenplay across the board. They don't gave that other woman all her flowers for being innovative. And like you said, she made us care about the everyday people. And also, it's a love letter to New York. She is a New Yorker. There's not one inauthentic thing about that city in that movie because she's from New York. Now, mine is somebody that I've also championed and that I feel has gotten her flowers a little bit, but not as much. And it's Channing Godfrey Peoples. I love Miss Juneteenth. It is my #1 film of the year. Channing is so talented. And again, I love that women are telling stories that are true about who they are, where they're from, their experiences, and their point of view. And I'm excited for what she's got coming out next. But this movie it just sits right here with me as a mom and just as a woman. And also these two women that we're talking about are lovely women. It's nice to root for good people. We don't got to sit here and grit our teeth and pretend niceties. They really are good people, and they're appreciative of all the support from all the award shows. They're not just tweeting out when the ting people.
All right, so that's it for our topic section. I'm introducing a new segment, which is called The Best Thing We Saw This Week. And there were two things that I saw, and so I'm a cheat, but because last week I wanted to talk about this, that I did not see this Dave Chappelle, the Kennedy Center Mark Twain prize.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's dope.
When I saw that, I was like, now that was good. So I saw that last week. And this week I saw the movie Night of Kings. I'll have to talk about it later, but it really was one of those movies that played with my mind and caught me. I watched it all the way through. And one of my friends, I think her name is Katya, talked about how they lit these people from a cinematic perspective. Black people, man, we look regal good, all that, and even in a jail setting. So those were the best things I saw this week. Katya.
I will say that, but we're going to talk about that next week. And this was my guilty pleasure. There's a show on Netflix about this Black family down there in Memphis. They own a funeral home, and I just love them. I love the mom. I love the fam. And what I love most about it is, again, like you said, it's ordinary people, a Black family that owns a business. They run it as a family. There are no outside employees, and they're passing things on from generation to generation. We always talk about ownership. We always talk about legacy. And here you have it. You have different generations, and everybody's in the business. Yes, they bicker, but they stick together as a family. And that's important to see, because our kids don't see often enough people running a business as Black families, and they're not in entertainment. They're not, you know what I mean? They're not in sports.
Excellent.
But they do.
Excellent. Sean, you laugh.
Best thing, Amen, The Fight for America on Netflix, produced by Will Smith, talking about the ratification of the 14th Amendment. I love what they did with it. It's a 6-part series. It goes totally in depth. A great history lesson, particularly considering everything that we're dealing with right now. Everyone needs to watch. I like the Will Smith went in this direction. He does a great job. Very creative, so it's not boring the way they present the material. It's just a solid watch. I mean, it was so good. I watched each episode twice.
I'm really glad that you mentioned that when my wife was watching that, and the way they cut that and kept it so interesting, and it's also, as you said, very, very educational. Yeah, those some good ones. Hey, thanks, guys. Hey, that's our show. I'm Reggie Ponder, the Real Critic. This is the Real Critic Roundtable, where Black critics come to discuss, debate, and have some fun. We did all of that. This is Black History Month, so if you haven't watched something, did something, get out there and be for the people.
Can we do a quick viewer discretion? If you get mad at whoever wins or loses the Golden Globe Awards, you can't be mad at us, because don't know Black people vote for that.
Facts.
Bam. Bam. That's it. Show's over. See y'all next week.